Imagine a single plant that could revolutionize your compost, turbocharge your plants, and transform your garden soil into black gold, year after year, without spending a single dollar on fertilizer. Sounds too good to be true? What if I told you this plant has been used for over 2,000 years, was nearly erased from every garden center in America, and the fertilizer industry would prefer you never heard of it? Welcome to the world of comfrey, and by the end of this video, you'll never look at your garden the same way again. Before we dive in, comfrey isn't just any garden plant. Its roots reach up to 3 meters deep and extract nutrients from soil layers that other plants can never access. The result? A natural fertilizer that outperforms synthetic alternatives, only better, more sustainable, and practically free once it's established. This is the story of why you were never taught this, who profits from your ignorance, and what you can do about it today, starting with a single root cutting in your backyard. Stay until the end, carved, because the last part is the one they really don't want you to know. Comfrey, botanically known as Symphytum officinale, is a perennial herb from the borage family. Originally native to Europe and Western Asia, it now grows in temperate zones worldwide. The plant reaches 60 to 120 centimeters in height and develops characteristic bell-shaped flowers in purple, pink, or white. What makes comfrey so special is its extraordinary root system. The taproot penetrates 1.5 to 3 meters deep into the soil, significantly deeper than most garden plants. In doing so, it functions like a biological pump. It accesses nutrients from deep soil layers and transports them upward into the leaves, where they become available to everything growing around it. The leaves are true nutrient powerhouses. They contain high concentrations of nitrogen, phosphorus, and especially potassium, the three main nutrients that plants need for healthy growth. Additionally, they provide important trace elements like calcium, magnesium, and iron. In 50 CE, the Greek physician Dioscorides documented it in his landmark work De Materia Medica as a wound healer and soil restorer. Roman legions carried it across Europe. Medieval monks grew it in their physic gardens. For nearly 2,000 years, it was as common in a working garden as a spade. An established comfrey stand can remain productive for over 20 years, delivering free nutrients for your garden year after year. But then, almost overnight, it vanished from mainstream gardening. And that's where the story gets interesting. But then, in 1954, a scientist decided to take it seriously again. Comfrey tea is your liquid turbo fertilizer, and making it couldn't be simpler. Cut fresh comfrey leaves and fill a bucket about 1/3 full. Pour water over the leaves in a 1:10 ratio. So for 1 kilogram of leaves, add 10 liters of water. Cover the bucket, but not airtight, because the fermentation process needs some air circulation. Now it's time to wait and stir occasionally. After 3 to 4 weeks, your tea is ready. You'll recognize it by the dark color and intense smell. Yes, it smells strong, powerfully strong. But that smell? That's the smell of nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus breaking down into a form your plants can absorb within hours. For application, dilute the tea in a 1:10 ratio with water. Pour this mixture directly at the roots of your plants, about every 2 weeks during the growing season. You can also use it as a foliar spray, diluted even further, to give leaves a direct nutrient boost during periods of stress or rapid growth. Some experienced gardeners even use it as a seed-soaking solution before planting, reporting faster germination and stronger early root development. The potassium content in comfrey leaves is roughly 7% by dry weight. Compare that to well-rotted farmyard manure at around 1.5%. That's nearly 5 times more of the nutrient most responsible for fruit and flower development in a plant you can harvest 4 to 5 times per season. Heavy feeders like tomatoes, pumpkins, and zucchini especially love this treatment. Gardeners who switch from synthetic liquid fertilizers to comfrey tea consistently report larger harvests, deeper color, and stronger stems. Without a single chemical in the soil, but liquid feeding is just one way to use this plant. What if you don't have time to brew tea every month? Mulching is the easiest way to use comfrey, and arguably the most powerful. Cut fresh leaves and lay them directly as a mulch layer around your plants. No brewing, no waiting, no diluting. The leaves decompose within a few weeks, continuously releasing nutrients directly into the root zone. At the same time, the mulch layer suppresses weeds and retains moisture in the soil, reducing your watering needs by up to 30%. A particularly clever method. Place comfrey leaves directly in the planting hole before setting tomatoes, potatoes, or other heavy feeders. The leaves decompose exactly where the roots need them most, delivering a slow-release nutrient feed over weeks. Think of it as a time-release capsule, built entirely from a plant that grows back every time you cut it. You can cut comfrey 4 to 5 times per growing season. Each time it regrows completely from the root. 1 plant, 5 harvests, 0 cost after the first cutting. And because Bocking 14, the variety developed by researcher Lawrence Hills after 8 years of testing 21 cultivars, produces no seeds, it won't spread beyond where you plant it. You stay in control. Roots of Bocking 14 go down over 1.8 meters into the subsoil, pulling up minerals that shallow-rooted plants can never reach. Under good conditions, a single established planting can yield up to 33 tons of biomass per acre per year. That's not a typo. 33 tons per acre per year. This method is perfect if you don't have time for tea. Simply cut, lay out, done. And your soil biology will thank you for it. Earthworm populations under comfrey mulch have been observed to increase significantly within a single season. But what about your compost pile? Because this is where comfrey becomes something truly extraordinary. Comfrey is the turbo for your compost. The nutrient-rich leaves accelerate decomposition and enrich the finished compost with valuable minerals that most compost piles simply don't contain. Simply layer comfrey leaves between your other compost materials, about 1 layer every 20 to 30 centimeters. The leaves not only bring in nutrients, but also moisture, and they dramatically promote the activity of microorganisms. Compost heaps with regular comfrey additions break down up to 30% faster and produce a richer, darker, more biologically active end product. Your plants can feel the difference from the very first application. And here's something most gardeners never realize. Comfrey is one of the few non-legume plants that actively accumulates nitrogen from deep soil layers and returns it to the surface. It's not just a fertilizer, it's a nutrient pump, pulling up what your garden has lost and giving it back for free, season after season. Ancient farmers didn't know the chemistry, but they knew the results. And now, so do you. Pro tip: if your compost is too dry or sluggish, soak comfrey leaves in water for 48 hours and pour the liquid over the pile. Within days, you'll see steam rising, a sign that microbial activity has exploded. That's your compost coming alive. So why does almost nobody know about this? Why isn't comfrey in every garden center, on every gardening show, in every beginner's guide? In the 1990s, studies linked high doses of pyrrolizidine alkaloids, compounds found in comfrey, to liver damage. The doses used were extreme, far beyond anything a gardener would ever encounter. But the headlines didn't mention that. By 2001, the FDA had issued warnings against comfrey-based dietary supplements. Retailers pulled products. Garden centers quietly stopped stocking the plant. And just like that, 2,000 years of agricultural knowledge was quietly shelved. The global synthetic fertilizer market is worth over $200 billion a year. A plant that replaces fertilizer, grows itself, costs nothing after the first cutting, and cannot be patented is not a product. It's a problem. What you can't sell, you don't promote. A method that works once is worse for business than one that needs to be bought every year. And so comfrey didn't disappear because it failed. It disappeared because it succeeded, and because no one could make money from that success. Here's what they didn't tell you. The FDA warning applied to oral supplements, not to garden use. Bocking 14 is still available from specialist nurseries today. It was never banned as a plant, only as a supplement. The risk from using comfrey as a garden mulch or compost activator is not supported by any credible scientific evidence. The knowledge was never gone. It just stopped being taught. Until now. Find a Bocking 14 root cutting, plant it in the corner of your garden where nothing else grows well. Cut it back 3 times this summer and lay the leaves around everything you want to thrive. You don't need a bag of fertilizer. You don't need a subscription. You don't need a chemistry degree. You need 1 plant, 1 season, and the knowledge that someone spent 2,000 years trying to give you. What Dioscorides wrote in 50 CE. What Henry Doubleday tried to prove in 1810, what Lawrence Hills confirmed in the 1960s. It was always true. It doesn't need permission. It grows anyway.